Hello everyone. Our today's topic is about SQL. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. This is the language used for relational databases. With the help of SQL, we can read, we can select, we can extract data from various relational databases. We can manage databases. Actually, by using SQL, we can perform various operations on relational databases. These commands can be referred as statements, and we can also refer these commands as queries. We have already practiced some basic queries in our previous lectures. Today we will study this topic in details. These are the contents for our today's topic. First, we will know the basics about SQL. Then we will check that which type of operations can be performed with the SQL. We will see the basic structure of SQL query. Then we will define statements, clauses and keywords. After that, we will also discuss the rules for typing SQL statements. There are some sort of rules which must be followed for typing SQL statements, and after that we will look into the classifications of SQL commands. We can classify SQL commands in DDL, DML, TCL, DCL and DQL. We will study all these in details. Like for data definition language, we will have some queries that would be used for the definition of data in this language. Similarly, DML and TCL, DCL and DQL will have also sets of queries. First, introduction. Structured query language is a database query language used for storing and managing data in relational DBMS. Note one thing, that we must specify the type of DBMS. It must be relational if we are talking about SQL, because SQL is used only in relational databases. In other type of databases, this language is not used. So it was first commercial language introduced for EF chord relational model of database. Igor F. Chord was an English computer scientist who described relational model for database management in 1969. He proposed the structure and language for relational databases. So according to this model, we will have relations used for database storage. Here we have a storage. We have some records in a table. This table is called relation. So the product is actually relation according to this model. Then according to this model, we will have some attributes. So these are the attributes in this table. We can say these are the attributes or properties of this relation. Then the third thing in this model is called tuple. Tuple, each row in a relation is called tuple. So here we have a row. This row is called tuple. Tuple can be said that it is a single record about a particular instance of a particular relation. So we are moving back to our introduction. SQL became a standard of American National Standards Institute (ANSI) in 1986, and then the standard for International Organization for Standardization (ISO) in 1987. If you look into today's relational database management system like MySQL, Oracle, Infomix, Sybase, MS Access, SQL Server, there are many relational DBMS. All these DBMS are using SQL as the standard database query language. SQL is used to perform all type of data operations in our DBMS. Note one thing, in all these DBMS, the basic or the fundamental queries are similar. However, some queries are slightly different from each other. What can SQL do with databases? So first thing is that the database must be relational and it must be kept by a relational DBMS. After that, SQL can be used to perform various operations. With the help of SQL or by using SQL, we can execute queries against any database that is stored, and by using SQL we can retrieve data, we can select data from a database, or we can get data that has been stored in a database in different tables. We can insert new records into an existing database. The records will be inserted into tables lying in the database. Then these records can be updated with the help of SQL commands. These records can be deleted by using SQL commands. We can create new databases, we can create new tables in the databases, we can create store procedures, we can create views, we can grant permissions for usage of tables, procedures and views to different users. We can revoke permissions, we can revoke privileges from users on different objects. In a relational database, we may have different objects. These objects can be tables, procedures, views. There are many other things. We will see these things in our labs. Next, we have the basic form of SQL statement. We can also call that statement as query. So we have a statement here. This statement is actually a select query. So we have some keywords in this statement, and along with these keywords we are using some attributes. The attributes are lying in the relations, and we are specifying one or more relations, and we are giving some conditions. So this is a basic form of an SQL query. We have some examples too here. Like here I am typing select. This is a keyword. Then we have two attributes, from, table name, and a condition with where. So with the help of this statement we can select some attributes from a table with a condition. We have another example. With this command we can insert data into a table having some attributes, and the values to be inserted are mentioned after values keyword. We can delete a table by using this command. So it is a simple statement. We have some keywords and then name of the table. Or without any table name we can also execute a command to show all the tables stored in the database. Next we have SQL statements, clauses and keywords. Consider an SQL statement. This is a select statement or select query. We have some keywords here and some attributes, a table, and here we have another attribute. So First, keyword. Keyword is the individual tokens or elements which are predefined. Like we have select, from, order by, these are predefined and we cannot change their meaning in the SQL. These must perform their operations as they are defined for. In the given example, we have select, from and order by as keyword. Next, we have clauses. In this statement, we have actually two parts. The first part is from select to student and the second part is from order by to student ID. So here we have two classes actually. Clause is a part of SQL statement. In the given example, there are two classes. The first clause is select and the second clause is order by. Now if we combine these two clauses, then that is called statement, or we can say a complete query. It might be a single clause. A complete query may refer to a statement, or we can say that set of two or more clauses are called as a statement. The next topic in our today's lecture is about rules for typing SQL statements. So in this language, actually there is no case sensitivity. We can use both cases for all the keywords. Like we have select, so we can type select in uppercase or we can type it in lowercase. In both cases we will get the results. There will be no error. So simply we can say that this language is not case sensitive. Let's check. Here we are going to check the case sensitivity for keywords in this language. So I'm using my SQL workbench, and here I will type some queries to see whether the case matters or not. So in this DBMS we have a database stored named as student. It has some tables. The first table is basic info. I will check the contents stored in this basic info. So for this purpose I must type select static from basic info. So after executing this statement, we will get the list of all the tuples, the records stored in this table. So I am executing it. You can execute it by pressing Ctrl and Enter. So the query has been executed. We have the list of all the records stored in this table. So the keywords were in lowercase. Now I am replacing these keywords to uppercase. Select, and here we have from. So now the keywords are in uppercase. Execute it again, Control Enter. It's working. We got the result again. So it means that there is no case sensitivity in this language. In this language, the end of statement is specified by semicolon. So we say that we can type a single statement in multiple lines. That will put no effect. If you type a statement in a single line or in a multiple line, the result will be same for both cases. So however, it is suggested to type the statements in multiple lines for better readability. Now if we go back to my SQL, this statement is in a single line. I can type it in multiple lines like this. It will also work. Control Enter. It's working. Now for better readability, I must type it as order by, let's say name. So we have a name attribute in this table. So we are ordering all these records according to this name. I can type this query in a single line, or in multiple lines. In both cases the result will be same, because we are actually terminating this statement by using semicolon. So if we execute it, it will work in this way. Also in a single line it will work. Even if I type two statements in a single line, that will also work, because the statements are terminated by semicolon, so it will put no effect if you type multiple statements in a single line. Now here I am typing, let's say, select static from another table, contact info, and I'm executing this statement. So control enter, it's working. I got the result for this statement. Now if I move my cursor to this statement and press control enter, I will get the result for this statement. So we can type multiple statements in a single line, and we can type a single statement in multiple lines. In both cases the result will be the same. However, for better readability, it is preferred to use multiple lines. For better readability, it is preferred to use uppercase for keywords and lowercase for other words. Like we did in our statement, we used uppercase for select, from, and order by, and lowercase for the table name and attribute name. We have already practiced this thing. The cases, all these cases will give us same results. For strings or for characters, we must use single quote, and inside the quotes the case is considered. Like here A is in uppercase and this one is in lowercase, so both are different. Next, about constants or values. So we must use single quote, and using these double quotes is not correct. So always use single quote for values, particularly for string values. Then for character or string, single quote must be used. We must use single quote. And for objects, we must use grave accent. You can get this key on the left side of 1 in the keyboard. We have some ways to manipulate the stored data in the RDBMS. We can say that there are some categories or classes of SQL queries. We can classify these queries in different ways. So in most of the books you will find these categories. The first one is DDL, data definition language. Second one is DML, data manipulation language. Third, TCL, transaction control language. Fourth, DCL, data control language. And the last one is DQL. So actually all these consist queries, but the purpose of query or the operation of query is a bit different from each other. So these are classified according to the nature of the queries used in SQL. We will look into these one by one. First one is data definition language. In data definition language, we deal with the structure of tables. Like we can create a table, we can make some changes in the table, we can delete a table. So in data definition language, we deal with the structure of tables. Not only tables, we can also create other objects. We can create views, procedures. We can delete views and procedures too. So in data definition language, when we deal with the objects of a database, then that thing must be under DDL. All DDL commands are auto committed. Once you execute it, it will definitely save all the changes permanently in the database, and these changes would not be reverted. So here we have some queries in DDL. The first one is create, second alter, third truncate, draw, and the last one is rename. So create is used to create a new table, a new view. Even we can create a database with the help of create query. Then by using alter, we can make changes in these objects, like if you want to rename, rename an attribute in a table, if you want to add an attribute, if you want to delete an attribute in a table, that can be done by using alter. We can update a view with the help of by using this alter key. Then we have truncate. If you want to delete all the data from a table, then for that purpose we will use truncate query. Drop query is used to delete the table itself, and the rename query is used to rename the table. Here in the slide, table is mentioned, but remember, these queries are not only applied on tables, these are applied on many other objects too. These objects can be functions, procedures, views, etc. Next is data manipulation language. Data manipulation language don't deal with the structure of objects. Actually, it deals with the data. So here we manipulate data with the help of DML codes. By manipulation, we mean that we can insert data, we can make changes in the data, we can delete some existing data. So all these are covered by DML. DML commands are not auto committed, means that if we make some changes, such changes would not be permanent. We can revert changes made by DML code. So here we have some queries lying under DML. The first one is insert. Insert is used to add a new record or a new row. Update is used to update an existing record. It can be a row in a table. Then we can delete a record in a table by using delete query. Then the last one is merge. Merge can be used to merge two rows or two tables in a database. Next we have TCL, transaction control language. These commands are used to keep a check on other commands and their effect on the database. Actually, TCL deals with the transactions, and a transaction may consist many commands, many queries in it. So the TCL also make any temporary change, and it may make a change that is temporary to permanent. That is possible. So first one is commit. This is a query. It is used to permanently change the state. We can say that once the queries are executed and after that we commit all the changes, so we will permanently make the changes in databases according to those queries. Then we have rollback. With the help of rollback, we can undo some changes. It is possible that some queries give us error. So if there is a bulk of query, let's say we have 5 queries, on query number 4 we got error, so it is advised to roll back all the queries, like either these 5 must be executed or none of these must be executed. So if 3 are executed, so these 3 must be reverted. So for that purpose we have rollback clause available or rollback queries available under TCL. Then the last one is save point. Save point is used to temporarily save a state of the database records. Next we have data control language. Data control language is used for granting permissions or granting privileges to users. So it is possible that we may have multiple users of a single database. Usually database is accessed by many users, so we can grant these users some privileges, or we can bound these users to use some particular data and don't access the entire data. So for that purpose we have grant and revoke queries. Grant is used to grant permissions on any object to a particular user, and revoke is used to take back the granted permissions. Next we have data query language. This is very common and most frequently used. Select query is used to retrieve record from one or more tables stored in a database. Data query language is used to fetch data from tables based on conditions that we can easily apply. Actually, in select statement we have multiple keywords, we have multiple clauses which can be combined, and according to those clauses we can get data from tables in different ways, and we can apply different type of conditions so that we may get our desired data from the tables stored in a database. This was all about today's lecture. In today's lecture we studied about SQL. First we checked its definition and some basic information about SQL. Then what can SQL do, what would be the possible operations performed by SQL or the capability of SQL. Then the structure of query, the basic format of a query. We also checked some examples. Then the definition of statements, clauses and keywords. We also checked these things. Then the rules for typing SQL statement. So the rule was simple, that it is not case sensitive, but for better readability use capital letters for keywords and small letters for other words. Then we studied the classification or the ways of SQL commands to be used. So we can use SQL commands for many purposes. We have DTL, DML, TCL, DCL and DQL. In coming lectures we will study about these classes or these ways of SQL commands in details. We will practice all these in workbench. So I'm hopeful that you will study all these by yourselves and do practice the code in MySQL Workbench or MS SQL Server. If you have any question, you can put your question in the comments. Inshallah, I will reply you whenever I get any comment. So for today, this was enough. Best of luck and thank you.